If you looked at a Financial Times MBA ranking published in 1999, the first one, you wouldn't see many business schools in Germany. Now, there are several world-class institutions that offer an intensive, very high-quality learning experience in the economic, innovation, and financial heart of Europe. So, to find out more about studying your MBA in Germany, I'm joined by graduates from the Mannheim Business School and from the Frankfurt School of Finance and Management. Michael Kahn was in Mannheim's class of 2022. He'd studied electrical engineering at Georgia Tech, spent 4.5 years in the US Army orchestrating IT, cloud, cybersecurity solutions. MBA is a transition to civilian life and has since been consulting with KPMG before joining Amazon in an operations manager role. And with him, Sourav Chatterjee. Sourav graduated from the Frankfurt MBA last year. He'd studied his own BBA in Durgapur, and this passion for sports, for sales and strategy with the leading sports firm Decathlon, and post MBA has transitioned to a role in Germany. Thank you, both of you, for being with us at Centre Court. Michael, that was just a very brief introduction, but tell us about that path and what ultimately then led to heading to business school.
Yeah, sure. So originally from Florida, that's where I grew up, and then now landed in Amazon here in Germany. So quite a ways in the Hamburg region. But as you mentioned, pre-MBA, I think some of the things I was missing out on being a signal officer was really learning about kind of what the private sector does, what are things like finance and accounting, which aren't our main priorities in the Army, and also, how do you do marketing? And this is one piece of it that I was really missing in Army. So as I wanted to transition, that's where I said, hey, let me try and pursue an MBA to kind of get these building blocks and use as a stepping stone to get to the next stage, transition the career from military to civilian. And yeah, and then the search began really for the business school.
Well, I mean, business schools in Florida and across the US, but was it very intentional to look for an international MBA study experience, and why Germany specifically in Mannheim?
Yeah, so living abroad for 4 years, I really enjoyed living internationally, and I wanted to continue that, to be honest. I really enjoyed living in Germany, even through the Corona times, and I just wanted to continue prolonging that. And after being here, seeing the cultures, that's why I decided to say, okay, hey, I'm going to stay in Germany, and then looking for the business schools in Germany was really enticing because they're a bit cheaper than some of the ones in the US. Cost of living in Germany is low. Quality of life is also a bit higher. And yeah, this was I didn't want something too long. So 2-year programs were kind of unappealing to me. And when I was looking in Germany, I saw some 1-year programs, which were quite enticing to say, hey, I can learn everything I need in 1 year, whereas other ones, takes 2 years and a summer break.
Right. Saurav, sport is big business. The Super Bowl coming up, the IPL, the Premiership, or just on a Sunday morning run. You've built your career in that space. Tell us a little bit about that story that then led you to Frankfurt.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, 35 years in my country. I really enjoyed what I was doing. I actually started after my graduation during it in music. I was really enjoying, and I'm really passionate about music. I still pursue it on and off, but then I realized that I need a formal degree, so I did a BBA. I was really interested in HR, so I gradually transitioned to it. And then I realized that my passion really lies in sport, having been a sports person almost all my life. And then I decided to apply to Decathlon. It really worked out well. I think it's been almost a decade for me at Decathlon. A lot of learning, great learning, great colleagues around, amazing culture. And I always wanted to be a CEO. I don't know why, but I think everyone does, but I also did. And while doing it, I realized in the middle that I was also extremely enticed by the position of a CFO and the responsibilities that she or he has. And then I decided, okay, this is great. I want to be a CFO. I have many years under my belt and a lot of years as managing and leading teams. And then I thought that this is the time that I need some formal education in finance, which I had not had before, and that an MBA towards more inclined towards finance would make more sense. And that's how the decision and the search started, like it started for Michael as well when he wanted to transition.
So you'd found a company and a sector of activity that you loved, but wanting to bring in that transition. Now, of course, even in the school's name, the Frankfurt School of Finance and Management, was that part of the appeal that it really did focus on areas that you wanted to develop professionally?
Yes, absolutely. Actually, coming from India, and I don't know many parts of the world, maybe also, one of the key indicators to joining a good business school is also the ranking. Although the ranking was important for me, but it didn't take the number one spot. But of course, the ranking comes with it. And I was looking for an MBA, which was more specialized towards finance, like you said. So I really looked into the curriculum, and it made a lot of sense with the kind of professors and the diversity they have in the teaching staff. Very, very inclined and heavy towards finance, and I really liked it. Although there is also a lot of general management topics, but finance was something that I was really targeting. And then it came with everything else that I was looking for, which is the 1 year MBA, because I did not have the headspace after 13 years of working in the industry to enter into a classroom for 2 years. And I did not think that's what I needed because, like I said, I just wanted to learn the ropes of finance better. And then Frankfurt School of Finance and Management was just a perfect fit.
Right. Michael, with cloud computing, cybersecurity, which themselves are, such a big piece now of business and society as we move forward, the choice of Mannheim, which has its own tradition in innovation, was that part of the appeal in this splendid Baroque palace that we can see behind you?
Actually, it is. So one of the main foci of Mannheim Business School is digital transformation. And so when you look at the programs, we have a main course focused on digital transformation. And in addition, we did a wonderful exchange in Milan that was also focused on digital transformation, where we did some innovation with automotive ideas and how that will go into the future. So each of the courses and even electives at Mannheim kind of takes that digital part and integrates it into the curriculum. How does it incorporate into marketing, into all the core classes, including ESG? And then how can we use that into the capital markets, into the advanced marketing techniques, and then eventually into our business master project?
Right. Now, having identifying an aspect of the program that was, so relevant and interesting to you, first day of the program, and classmates that you meet that are coming from all over the world, um, did they have shared interests? Was there a sense of something that you all shared in common that had brought you to Mannheim?
Yeah, I would say definitely the common thread that you see within each of the classes and each of the alumni and current cohort is this desire to be in Germany. So that's the first part. Everyone had some kind of connection to Germany, whether it was a business network there, family business there, they had worked there before, did an exchange there before. So everyone kind of had a little bit of knowledge or the Wissenschaft of Germany, and um, and that kind of brought everybody together onto the first common thread. Um, After that, it's just a desire to be in these classes into a small cohort of 50 people and then go into the curriculum together and then eventually get a job in Germany.
Yeah. When we think about European finance and your own CFO pathway, Sourav, of course, the European Central Bank has its home in Frankfurt. Is that something that you feel in the institution of a context and the surroundings that Frankfurt provides?
Yes, actually, Frankfurt is the hub of everything. It is the financial capital, I would say, and not I would say, it is the financial capital. Of course, the ECB sits right in Frankfurt. A lot of startups and a lot of big companies also operating out of Frankfurt who are very finance heavy in their operations. So that was definitely one of the things that I was definitely looking for, and it made absolute sense to be in Frankfurt with the financial institutions around. Yeah.
Tell us about the program itself. There'll be broader management skills, perhaps the ability to shape electives to really get that deeper understanding of the world of finance, but also beyond the classroom. There must be so many clubs, activities, the city itself that are also part of your personal learning and development.
Yeah, so Frankfurt is absolutely international. So first thing was, would I feel out of place having not lived out of the country for a really long, actually never lived out of the country before this. So Frankfurt is absolutely international. So the language would not be a concern was one of the things that I did some research on. And then along with that, Germany itself has a beautiful culture, beautiful places that you can visit, great places to hang out, of course. And then along with that, I was also, of course, researching what kind of activities are there in the school itself, in Frankfurt school itself. We have our own entrepreneurship center, which is brilliant, and there are so many startups coming out of it every now and then. And along with that, there's so many clubs focused around management consulting, around music, around sports, and even sport activities where people get together. International clubs related to sections, but it's absolutely brilliant that you get so much to choose from. I was actually spoiled for choices because there were so many things that I could actually do. But one year I think was far too less to do all of that. But yeah, of course, it was. It's rewarding.
Music, sport, and finance, and I know that you're a happy man. So, I mean, equally, Michael, for you, sort of even advice that you'd give yourself maybe on the first day, as you look at the core curriculum, electives that you're going to be following, all of these different clubs. Presumably, there's more to pack into a day than we actually have time for. So, is it important to really prioritize and think what matters most to you?
Um, I think to some extent, yes. Prioritizing and saying, "Hey, I'm here for a reason, and I know I want to pursue these certain courses," is quite important. But then there's also a strong portion of the course that it's okay not to have the knowledge of which industry or which courses you want to take. Those decisions come later on. First, semester is kind of your core classes, and then you go into the electives where you don't have to decide until the later on in the first semester, but you can go into these electives, pick from a couple of them from what interests you, and then go from there. But the best part is like the networking and the Mannheimer for life experience. That's our buzzword there. And that's why I say it's not important to prioritize, because as you network and talk to people within a class, you find out what your priority should be, which classes interest you, and that's a part of the learning experience.
Right. You've business school has been part of this very successful transition from your military life to civilian at KPMG and now with Amazon. How did the school, perhaps the Career Management Center, help you, support you, think about the next stages of your professional development?
So, of course, the Career Center or the ACO team is separate from the program team, which is nice, and it allows them to focus on setting up the events, um, like resume workshops, LinkedIn workshops, how to set up an appropriate thing to catch the recruiters, catch other people in industries. So I thought they did a really excellent job, especially coming from the military where we don't use these tools. They have focused career counseling sessions throughout the year. We can come and talk to them, give them, hey, this is my goal, this is what I want to achieve, and then they kind of help you see how we can fit into that inside Germany and the rest of Europe. And the best part, once again, the Mannheimer for Life experience is that they find people in the network who have already done it and link you up with them so that they can also share their experiences, how they made it to that stage.
Right. And in your case, Sourav, business school was, leaving home. You'd been in India, for your childhood and adult life until then. Um, in addition to career development, has it also been very helpful to prepare you for, a changing international work environment? You're now based in Baden-Württemberg, and getting you ready for that next step, even though it's within the same company.
Yes, for sure. It's also something that was really a part of the focus for, I would say, the career services, because internationalization was a big topic. Out of the full-time MBA cohort, I think out of the 40 or less than that, I think 35-ish of us, most of us were international students. And they really took it seriously on how do you prepare someone, not only to make them feel comfortable and they don't feel out of place, but there was a big focus on how do you prepare them for the job market, for example, in Germany, or for the international experience while you're switching, like from just not me, there were many people who were pivoting into different roles and activities. And it was a great start point because it was really designed and curated in a way that the internationalization bit of it, and being prepared for an international job was already a part of it. So, with the career counseling sessions that we had, the CV workshops, there were also presentation skills, intercultural workshops. There's a very different culture when you work in Germany compared to, let's say, back home in India. In order to understand that, also there were a lot of workshops that were being done. So I would say that we were really prepared well to step in, although, like I said, it was just 12 months or maybe lesser. But
Yeah.
yeah, that really helped. Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe you had expectations of the program, clearly, skills that you wanted. On a more, not intangible, but on a more personal level, an aspect of the program that perhaps either surprised you or it's like, wow, look at where I've come, something that you learned about yourself, self-confidence, or that has been this, wonderful, unexpected additional gift.
Yeah, I would say that I came into the program feeling pretty confident about myself and what I had done, and especially having led teams. I think I came in with a certain air that, okay, I have learned a lot, know a lot of things. What was really surprising was, although I did expect to learn a lot from the cohort, but what was so surprising was there were so many people from different age groups, different industries, and different backgrounds. And it was a really humbling experience for me to learn from them. And I was prepared for it mentally, maybe 50, 60%. But then when I entered the classroom, I felt that it was really curated and handpicked, the cohort, and everyone was really supporting each other. But the learning from each other was something that really surprised me. Like I said, because there was someone who's just 26. And I say just now because I'm 35, but when there's someone who's just 26 from a different industry, from a different learning, and there's so much to take in, that was brilliantly surprising for me.
The army, Michael, it could be an MBA case study. I mean, it's an extraordinary example of working in teams, logistics, and so many dimensions. As you think about the program, and again, same question that I asked to Sourav, maybe something that you then learned about yourself. You already got a very international mindset, but that perhaps was unexpected. And you looked at yourself at the end and said, wow, look at this journey where I've come, and this is what I've learned about myself.
Yeah, 100%. And along the same lines as Sourav here, is simply you don't know what you don't know. And that was the whole main goal of going through the MBA experience. And I would say, coming to this business master project that we have, the program team has set us up into MCTs or multi-competency teams, 5 to 6 people. And each person in the team is curated to be different from you and yourself, from your experience, your journey in life, and working with this team from the core classes at the start of the year all the way up to making that last final presentation in Basel in the Roche headquarters. It was quite a humbling experience, and I was able to learn from each person in the team, coming from EPC, oil and gas, automotive, consulting, finance, and all from different countries and different places. And that was the best part because all these things I didn't know, and I was happy to experience that through, vicariously through the others.
Yeah. So our audience at Centre Court, in a place that you were, as you were thinking about your next steps, this investment in yourself, an international move, Sourav, in your case. Michael, what would your advice be to anyone that's thinking about an MBA, or perhaps Mannheim in particular?
Yeah, I would say take the time before, 100%, do the research and talk to the people, talk to the alumni, talk to people in the class right now. I learned that each MBA program has its USP, fancy MBA term for unique selling position, proposition, for what they offer, And at Mannheim, you have the opportunity to live and work in Germany and be among different cultures, and that's great. And definitely not to underestimate the power of a strong network. Um, during the course and after the courses. And the best thing is that the school at Mannheim has country ambassadors, around 50 of them, including myself, for the Southern U.S. So just come and talk to us, and that's what we're here for.
Saurav, the same sort of final advice, and also perhaps, you were in your 30s as you just took that decision to go back to business school. Finding the right time, that must be a very individual decision. So what would you advise our viewers, and thinking about the Frankfurt School in particular?
Yeah, I agree. First off, leaps and bounds with what Michael said. That's the most important, is to start really building on the network that already exists, because there are big networks in our business schools. Oftentimes we are clouded by just the rankings that we see, just that. It is an important, but not, I would say, the most important thing to do, because beyond that, your research based on what is the curriculum, what does it have to offer, what does the class cohort look like, what are the professors, who are the professors, what do they teach, what are the specializations, that would be really important. So do your research, I would say, to everyone who's really looking out right now, instead of just the number. And then along with the research, reach out to alumni and the people, like Michael said, who are already studying now. I'm sure everyone would be more than happy to help and give you real-time feedback. Every business school also, to agree to Michael, has their own USP. In Frankfurt, like Mannheim, you're open to an international audience. The network is huge in Frankfurt School. We have, for example, we had so many executive talks with the top head, with the heads of different companies, with the big wigs, and it was great to learn from them. But through them also, we could really build a network. And I know so many of my friends and my colleagues who could find roles just thanks to the networking they did, and not necessarily passing their CV around desks. And I would say that, yeah, just be open to learning new things, be open to be uncomfortable if you're coming in from a different country, different background. There's a lot of learning. Language could be one of the things which could be concerning when you see a YouTube video, but it's not the most important. I live in Stuttgart, which is a little not so international, I would say, compared to a Berlin or a Frankfurt, but I never had a problem getting around, although my German is not so great. I'm just learning. But yeah, so just be open to the experiences, be open to what's there up for grabs, and yeah, you will do just fine.
Well, as you said, business schools are far more than a number in the rankings. The MBA is much more than a piece of paper. And I think it does start with dialogue, being able to hear from both of you directly, the ambassador role, Michael, that you play, and just to be able to capture, that energy and enthusiasm and the insights of the experiences that you've both had. So I'm very grateful. Thank you for both joining us, taking time out of busy schedules, and really appreciate that. Thanks for being with us at Centaur.